Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Nakisero. Hello. Hi, Naki. How you doing? Pretty alright myself, thanks. Just, somewhat of a case of the Mondays, but nothing that... Nobles are coming along pretty decent, if I do say so myself. So we are done with the first batch of them. I just have a few more touches to do, like I need to blend the golds on the helmet on this blocker and the thrower here. Because I only just sketched the highlights and the metallics. But today we are actually starting on the next batch. It's already been base colored and shaded. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I hope they will, for the first time ever, for something I've painted, stand out well on a table. Because painting under a bright artificial light actually gives a very wrong impression on about how the miniature will stand out on an actual table with softer light and from a greater distance. So I kind of have to learn to emphasize the highlights even further. Yeah, absolutely. Because for instance, let me show you. The previous team that I painted were these Norse, and they're incredibly dusty. But for you to get an idea, so again, under this light, they're looking kind of alright in terms of values and whatnot and brightness. Right, you can kind of make out most of what they are. But put them on a table and they just disappear. Like, they blend it out very much. So that's something to work on. Even the ones with the red hair that should technically stand out a little bit more, still faded into the background. And this is partly due. Yeah, that's true, but still, there are ways to make them like just be visible when you're playing, and especially Blood Bowl. Like this is not 40K where you're playing on a 4x6 foot playing field. The actual pitch is a lot smaller. So you technically shouldn't have to push things too far. Yeah, but in this case, I think that the color scheme itself is going to carry it a bit further. Hello, Hubert. What's up? So yeah, let's start off. All right. No worries, dude. Take care of what you need to take care of. Yeah, that I'm not particularly happy with how the painting challenge came out. Um, I realized way too late that my entire approach was a little bit wrong. I shouldn't have gone for a zenithal highlight, because I've never used zenithal highlighting before, so I don't know how to take proper advantage of it. Yeah, because I'm not really doing anything, I'm just painting, I'm putting paint on the palette. So this is what I ended up with at the end. So I managed to only do the face and the crown on both sides and the flower and hand here to frame sort of picture. So this is the positive one and this is the negative. No, I was just taking out the thing. So this is the inverted grayscale and this is the good one. She does, yeah, doesn't she? Because of the grayscale. But if I were to do her again, yeah, I've seen specifically the angels. I've seen some cutouts. I haven't seen the actual original series where it takes place, but specifically the angels that disappear and where when you're what was it when you're looking at them when you're not looking at them? Yeah, exactly, the weeping ones. So if I were to do her again, if I were to start over, I would just paint a mid-tone gray like the entire model and then just start sketching the deepest shadows with blacks for the positive grayscale and whites for the inverted grayscale, and then just the extreme highlights in white for the positive and black for the negative, and then just start blending in from there. And I think I would have gotten a lot further if I had done that. Instead, I did a very bad zenithal highlight with the nail brush, and that kind of ruined it and got me way back down into what I was doing. Yeah, I may revisit her at some point, but it's not gonna be anytime soon. Also, the model, for whatever reason, as interesting as it is, didn't really inspire me. Like, it didn't really talk to me to be something. Well, it is a difficult model because it's essentially two busts in one. So it's pretty hard to work on. No one actually managed at the end of the day to get the whole thing done, like to completion. Some people either did half of it or did parts of both sides. definitely a weird model and definitely one that wears you out. But it was an interesting experience nonetheless. Yeah, that's true, but it's still just the fact that you have to blend two faces, and being a female model, you need to ensure that the blends are even. I did, yeah. That the blends are even smoother than they would be on a male face, and so there's a bunch of bullshit that goes into this. And also, it was my first time. Thank you. My first time painting at this scale, and I thought it would go a little bit faster than how it did, honestly. But lessons have been learned, and hopefully next time it will be better. That was about as simple as I could have gotten. Just two colors. Can't get simpler than two colors. Yeah, that is true. I just thought that the zenithal highlighting would have helped me more than a flat mid-tone, but I was wrong. Also, the use of the airbrush was bad. Very inexperienced with an airbrush. And so I couldn't get enough out of it as I wanted. I expected I'd be able to get a smoother finish and then essentially just work on texturing here and there. The idea is that you shouldn't, just challenge-wise. Basically, you can only do priming and possibly zenithal highlighting, but in my case, where zenithal highlighting would have been, if done correctly, it would have been half of the painting done. Would have been a bit too much cheating. But it was an interesting challenge, and there were some fun moments. At the very least, hanging out with the locos was fun. Raz was out of his mind as usual. Mixing pain medication and alcohol. So he just clocked out a bit earlier. Well, hopefully next time it's gonna be a simple bust. and then I can just paint it, like just go over it the same way I would, like the way I did with the Zug miniature, the 10-hour stream that I did then. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We'll see. There is time. Yeah, and then the varnish. But I was able to, at the end, to remedy it and fix it at the end, so... Alright. It's all good in the end. Lots. Yeah. Ouch. Yikes. Well, good thing you found them, and that nobody nicked them. Also managed to do quite a number of my brushes with this challenge. It went well in the end, yeah. Oh, do you want to see how the troll came out? Save most of the Imperium with minimum sacrifices. So it's not the smoothest green stuff work in the world, but since it's mostly on the underbelly, it won't be that noticeable. Yeah, here he is. So I green stuffed the underbelly and pretty much the entire protrusion here on the lower back. Uh, Here, like just okay. Thanks, dude. Hopefully, it'll look all right. I haven't cleaned the mold lines. Are you gonna take care of those, or would you like me to clean them up as well? No cracks. Not even a butt crack. I can fiddle about to clean up the mold lines if you'd like to as well. Okay, alright. Okay. Just again, because they're metal and all that, if it's too much of a bother. Oh? What else got your... yeah, that's cool. It's gonna be a bit hard with the sheet. You might want to cut part of it and glue it or put it on a pencil or something so you have like a better surface. Because with the sheet, it's gonna be harder to get the details in. If you can get something softer, it would be great as well. Because then when you press in, whatever you have... yeah, okay. So you can do it on a pencil or what would be good. Hmm. You don't need to glue it on a pencil, just wrap the pencil in the piece of... hey, Claw Palmer! Just wrap the piece and then... I don't know. Yeah, I'm good. How's it going, Claw Palmer? What's up? I'm just painting up some yellow today. Oh, pretty late. Hope it went well. Oh, that's cool. I already did my daily exercise. Managed to squeeze one in. Yeah, that is an interesting question because I do my workouts at home. I actually haven't gone out. M tier. Oh, okay, that's actually good. Oh, that's cool. If you have the energy for it, that's cool. Oh, here's something you might find interesting. So, the thing that we painted on Saturday as part of the Loco challenge, I was able to play around a little bit. I only got the face done on both sides, so this is the inverted grayscale, and this is the regular, the positive grayscale. But again, only just the 8 bar for 8 hours. So I'll definitely have to work at some point, but at some point. Thanks, man. Apart from that, it's just doing these guys. I feel like I'm going very lazily about them. I'm making some mistakes that I wouldn't necessarily want. Like you may have noticed when I started here on the bottom of the tabard, I went too thick. Didn't get the good paint consistency. And the transition got a little rougher than I would have wanted it to. So I have to go back with the wash and blend it in a little bit. Yeah, no, it's literally just I'm skipping some dexterity aspects to it. I did figure out a few other, well, one more optimization that I can put into place. Yeah, but I could have done it now, and now I'll have to go back to it later and spend extra time that I didn't need to. I got it now, but also luckily, the face cam came back on today after I played around with the cables a little bit. I think so. This is a very old webcam, the one that I'm using for my face, and I haven't taken good care of the cable that's attached to it. So I think it does a short circuit somewhere and loses contact, because it does that every now and again. And on Saturday, using the airbrush, probably shook it up too much, so it went dead. Although it's no longer a reliable camera, so I'll probably need to make a change. I'll be looking into something that maybe would replace the C922 that I use for the paint cam. And I can use the C922 for the face cam and get something better for the miniatures. If I can find something that doesn't cost a bajillion monies. And I think I did, like, there is a rather cheap one that's technically has a better resolution. Why'd you share now? Ouch! Ow! Fire away. Damn. I think they are a very moody band. Like, definitely not a something to listen to on an everyday basis. They have their moments when they fit and when they don't. Okay. All right. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, true that. True that. Yeah, the dude does have a rather the one sporting the shirt does have a rather funky outlook. Oh, was that one of them? Shit, dude, I'm so bad at recognizing faces. Is that Sid? Damn, yeah. Well, since you had to tell me.
I fell by the wayside like everyone else. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, but I was just kidding myself. Or every moment I start to replace. Cause now that they're gone, all I hear are the words that I needed to say. When you hurt under the surface, like troubled water running cold. But time can heal, but this wound. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were a storm to weather. Before you go,
This is just my weekly release radar playing. Uh, haven't really picked out anything thematic. Just jumped in.
before you go.
A less crazy Sid, is there such a thing? What's this? Let's check it out. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Holy shit. Oh, that's glorious. He might very well be, yeah. I'm still weirded out how easily I made the transition from smoking to vaping. Now, there is, of course, a chance to relapse. But so far, I'm pretty good.
All through the night we drove and the wind caught her hair and we parked on the beach in the cool evening air. Well, sometimes it's better not to say anything.
Actually, nothing of it. That's the thing.
Your body is an anchor,
It's
never
very
asked to be
weird.
free. Wanna stay in the
Thing is,
business of
um,
making you
being stuck at
happy.
home
Well,
for
I'm
most of the
just
day
waiting for you,
led to
waiting
me
for you,
drastically
waiting for
increasing the
you,
amount of
waiting for
daily
you,
cigarettes, and I
waiting
just got
for
stuffed.
you, waiting for you.
uh, just overdid it for months on end. And maybe that contributed to how easy it went with that, because it's just you get kind of the same feel without the heft of the actual tar in you. I don't think that in a different point in time it would have been this. The effect would have been this big.
Sleep now, take as long as you need, 'cause
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because, when I'm in the office, I need to get up to get a smoke break, whereas as I'm working from home, uh, just the morning coffee would get me through half a pack. Yeah, exactly. But when it's no longer, it no longer operates as such because you're home. You don't need to get up and go anywhere. Kind of overload yourself. And now, of course, starting to get into the nitty-gritty of it. It is a weirdly enough, it's a whole other hobby in and of itself. As you start looking around all sorts of vape juice to use, all sorts of coils and all that. Not sure if I'll go that deep down the rabbit hole, but if I wanted to, there is. Yeah, the one that I'm smoking right now is tobacco flavored. It smells like pipe tobacco. Like the old very strong tobacco for pipes, like Clan, if you've ever smoked. It used to be a very nice rolling tobacco that you can also smoke in a pipe. But that's what I'm using now, but I went through... Yeah. I went through, so far, one fruit-flavored one. And it was very nice, a berry mix or whatever. And now I've got some other ones to try out. So to see different brands, different tastes, different nicotine content. You know, it's a thing, but it's pretty nice. Quite honestly, I haven't lit a single cigarette in 2 weeks. Well, ever since I actually started vaping, and it wasn't a struggle. Like, it was just I didn't need to. Again, I am expecting a little bit of a relapse at some point. So far, pretty good. It's pretty alright. Yeah, vaping is... It's alright, yeah, I think. Again, I don't think I would have needed to if pipe is the hipster choice. Well, I don't know, both can be interpreted as hipstery. From a, like, newer, younger generation standpoint, like, for someone of my generation, honestly, it would just be smoking plain old cigarettes. I don't know. But yeah, vaping is its own socially annoying thing. I don't know, I always associated with like writers and intellectuals, not so much working class. But again, it's pretty much where you've seen it and how you've gotten to see it. I don't think it necessarily has a vertical structure to it. Essentially, whatever you picked up and stuck to. No idea, really. Yeah, that's pretty much why I'm hesitant to talk about vaping, because I know it's kind of like CrossFit and being vegan. That you kind of just constantly yap about it. So I'm trying to keep it in a down low and just give the summary of things. Um, but I'm just excited because it's something fairly new to me. Ah, sweet. See, you're not truly dedicated since you waited for me to give you a way into the conversation. You should have made your own way to say it, like as you entered into the chat. Otherwise, it doesn't really count. Know what I mean? You can do better. So the seat is taken and the girl, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. What the hell? How did that get here?
Sie antwortete ihm sogleich mit engelsgleicher Stimme. Ich komme doch sehr wohl von hier aus, dumm die Dadeldei. Doch darf ich fragen, wer da spricht, gehüllt in edlen Sphären? Der Kaufmann küsste ihr die Hand, man nennt mich Diedeldei. Und sie gingen in die Taverne und sie tranken edlen Met und sie träumten von der Ferne und sie sangen dieses Lied. Dumm die Dadel, Dudel, Dadel, dumm die Dadeldei.
See? Yeah. Nice. Absolutely. Prime example. No. Oh, okay. Shit. Sorry. I don't know anymore, man. The lines are so blurred. I can't see. Okay. Well, intent is hard to see across a picture, in my defense.
Sie standen vor dem Traualtar, die Englein sangen laut. Fortan sollst du mein Ritter sein und ich bin deine Braut. Sprach die schöne Dumm-die-Dudel zu ihrem liebsten Diedeldei. Doch das wunderschöne Mägdelein war
I see, alright. Makes sense.
und sie gingen in die Taverne und sie tranken edlen Met und sie träumten
Good.
und sie
Yeah, I'm not totally clear on hipster culture as how its inception went about and like what exactly it is that um, people that identify as such stand for, or even if they actually identify as such, or is it something that comes externally? Because I've never really heard anyone say I'm a hipster. It's always it has always been something that comes externally from someone else. So it may be completely derogatory. I'm actually really not aware. Should do my social research on that. Sounds interesting for a topic to look into, because it is somewhat prominent. It's kind of, yeah, it is, isn't it? Like thinking about it, no one. I haven't personally heard anyone just stand up and like state affiliation with the style. But at the same time, there are a lot of common traits, actions, and activities, and overall demeanor. So it is definitely a style. However, what it is formulated as by the people who exercise it, is it just contemporary fad? Is it, um I don't know. I've never thought about that until today. Maybe just something that you accept as a given. You don't dig too deep in it. Yeah, you could say that, but I think that is still not exhausting the topic. But it is close, definitely. It is, however, an odd thing, and it's still like the general topic that is hardcore identification with a style is something that I got away from at a somewhat early stage of my development as a person, following some disappointments from groups that where I sought to belong. And after that point, just this classical kind of framing interests and personalities to wear a real bow tie. Yeah, possibly. And from that point, I just lost interest in that. Like, If there's something I like, I go to listen or participate in the event, and that's just it. It has taken a while until I gathered the. I don't know if you can call it um, self-esteem or just the confidence to stand on your own. Yeah, we're kind of like the do culture in Japan, where in the royal court, simple tasks, simple everyday things have been raised into um, traditions and to the point of ritualism, where the simple act of drinking tea would have taken you most of the day. And weirdly enough, this has absolutely zero deep thought or culture in it. It is simply the inhabitants of the royal court being bored to shit and making everything harder than it has to be, just so they have something to pass the day with. And the reason why it caught on from there is that everyone who wanted to pitch something to that royal court, be it a new product or, for instance, how it was with martial arts, they needed to attach these ritualizations so that the court would see them as similar to what they do and therefore like them and adopt them. Oh yeah, sure, sure. That we'll know how and have the skill to make it. Absolutely. Um, that is not the point, however. Like, naturally, anyone could have something that they prefer or that they focus on into. Point being, it can't be everything. Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. Did I fuck up on this one? Yep. I have to redo that. No, it's fine. All good. I did, however, manage to screw up this dude's shoulder plate. And now I am annoyed. Because I shouldn't have done this all the way across. Because the one I previously did is I'm attempting to get it as a hard surface with some reflections. So I needed to keep the darkness from the shaded base color, and I just went all over this place, so I'll need to reshade it. Annoying. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it is that you like, it's the same as I said about the smoking. It pretty much ends up being whatever you just choose to adopt as your main way. For instance, here in Eastern Europe, we mostly drink espressos, just in general. Like, it's not considered to be specifically artsy or high taste or whatever. It's just what we have adopted in general, and thus, for instance, filtered coffee is just a rarer sight. See? In households, that is. Cappuccino for the win. Yep. I just never have time to bother with it. Oh yeah. It's definitely a smoother texture. Strangers are coming. But when he does, it's from the understanding of love and care. Yeah, I understand it. I meant no offense. Believe me that. Yikes. Yeah, that's a good distinction. Dressing up when you have the proper occasion and whatnot. Yeah. Vogue. Oh, quite the contrary then. You have the experience and the collection, so where
Yo, red. Rest in peace, pops. I'ma ride until I die. D-I-E-C. And you niggas ain't even seeing me. Won't be. I'ma pray for you niggas before I sleep. And I'ma pray for you niggas before I eat. I'm clever with this weapon, yeah, I'm lethal too. Got some problems, think I'm solving, man, I got some issues too. Hai scelto, va affrontato, non ti giri mai dall'altro lato. Volevano farti intanto schiavo, tu come sei messo vai col capo. Questa
yeah. I don't know what happened with the playlist. Just went into a real weird direction. Yeah, now it's fixed. Moved back into the synthwave range of things. Yep. Hubert, Claw Palmer, and me as well. Little country called Bulgaria. Yeah, I guess. No, it's east is in further away from classical civilization, I guess you can say. You can imagine that East and West in general have a different meaning in this region. Yeah. Like different connotations to the meaning, that is. I think that the way to further optimize this scheme would be if I did the texturing for all of the materials last and for all of the textures at once. Woof, fairy tale land. There must be some vicious fairies you're referring to. Yeah, so instead of going do the yellow, do the texture, do the green, do the texture, I'll just do everything in terms of highlighting, and then I'll texture everything at the same time. And that's probably going to save me some extra bits of time. Hopefully. Here's how you optimize it. Show me. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Blop. I was actually wondering whether or not these dips were still used. Because I remember when they came out, and they were sort of a 50-50 whether or not you would adopt them into your painting style if you were painting larger armies and whatnot. But then everyone just stopped talking about them, like just as if they didn't exist anymore. And I was wondering whether or not someone actually uses them, and I asked around. It turns out, yeah. Yeah, they're sold, and apparently people are still using them. It's cool. I mean, nothing against it. I was just surprised of how much it sank back into obscurity, which is a little weird. Because you almost never hear talk of dip anymore. Like dip shading. So the difficult part from what I remember during review videos from that period is you can't just dip, take them out, and leave them to dry. You kind of need... Come on, man. Just don't do that. You have to soak up the pooling just as much as you have to do it with the Citadel shades. And since there is a lot of residue, the amount of time that you spend soaking up the excess actually kind of amounts to the same time being spent over. So I don't know. I've never heard. So airbrushing came quite a while, like main spread airbrushing came a little bit after the dips were introduced. So I haven't heard of anyone trying that, but it sounds like a cool idea actually. They stick it to a drill and spin it. Yeah. That's yeah. Then again, I never had to paint 100 models or so within the same paint style, especially multiple times over. I do suppose that there is a breaking point after which you just want to get them done. Like the 700th Orc Boy. It's the War Tear. No. No. Oil or enamels. Yeah, interestingly enough, oils and enamels are used on a smaller model count scale, even though they are actually easier to use. I think that John Ninius did used an oil wash for his 24-hour army painting challenge. And then he had plenty of time to clean up with the Q-tips and whatnot. Because they wouldn't dry by the time that he got to actually in pots. Water, so it does make sense. Does make sense. I mean, they did used to sell palette paper for just dry palettes. Bye, Clawpalmer. Thank you very much for dropping by, and have a lovely rest of your evening. Just like the left-handed brush, yeah. I don't think so. I haven't seen them ever since Duncan left. Maybe they're still there. Yeah, they do. But you can't really blame them. Like they want to be the like you want to have the convenience to get anything you need that's related to the hobby at one place. So from that point, I actually get it. It's all right. Yeah, the spray painting stick was a bit much though. Oh, I gotta do some of this. Oh. Okay, all we have left is the night. With that being said, however, I am going to take a 2-minute break just to go to the bathroom and stretch my legs a little bit. I will be right back. And we're back. I heard that Element Games has finally started shipping the Procro stuff, the Monument Hobbies stuff. So waiting to get my stuff as well. Although apparently they are shipping from like chronologically based on the orders, and since there were orders from back like 6 months ago or something, it'd be a little while until I get my shit, but the important thing is that they have started shipping. So things are moving along. Yeah, there were some delays with the initial stocking. Initially, it was supposed to be end of October, I think. But then it was moved to the 23rd or 20 something of November, so essentially today, for the full stock of items. And yeah, I did expect this to happen actually, since this is the only, so Element Games for now will be the only European distributor for Monument Hobbies. And I'm not aware, I'm actually pretty certain that they don't know exactly how much of a demand there will be for Monument, and there will be quite a bit. Because their shit is great. But it will be a while until supply and demand kind of balances out. And now they came out with the Sam Lens brush set, meaning what brushes from their range he would prefer to use. Which is kind of weird considering he mostly paints with dollar store synthetics, but it's good publicity. Alright with it. Yeah, so it's two of these artilleries, only the larger, the number 6. So Tencent, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's weird that they picked him for the face in the campaign, considering he uses cheap synthetics for everything he does. But it's a new pack. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. True. But again, it is down to the amount of miniatures that you paint, the style, in which you paint in general and how you're used to it. I haven't made it a point to use too large or too cheap brushes because I don't go through brushes as quickly as someone like either of them, just because I paint like 30 models a year, maybe. Yeah. Nah, quality isn't even up for discussion here. It's just that a lot of people start emulating painters that are A, professionals, and B, with decades of experience within a field. And they sort of, how do I say this? They don't go through the process to actually get to the point. And that leads to some misconceptions. Brushes being a very good example of it. Like, they use cheap brushes, A, because they can work with them, not because they are decent in terms of quality, and B, because they are cheaper for the amount of brushes that they destroy during the process. Now, if I, like I said, I paint 30 models a year, I definitely don't need to cheap out on the brushes. Yeah, and the results, yeah. So I can afford a little bit more comfort with a better brush. I don't need to necessarily copy that, or getting like super cheap primers that are for cars, like automobile surface primers. Again, for the same reason, I don't need to budget myself from those perspectives. I'm not gonna paint 500 models this year. So that price isn't going, that saving isn't going to amount to anything apart from horrible discomfort. Absolutely, yeah. And yes, again, if you're doing this professionally, then every cent that you spend is an investment and a working cost and whatnot. People that treat this as just a hobby, make yourself comfortable. You're doing this for fun. Enjoy yourself. Absolutely, yeah. Or even if you play, if you just, there are a lot of completed board games that are essentially all in one that come with a pretty good array of miniatures to paint and like pretty good quality and decent amount, and you paint them and you just play the game. I always give the example of the Gears of War board game that I have. It has some awesome miniatures. You don't need any extra in order for you to play. There's no meta to be chased or extra models to be collected. But it will make your board game models a little bit shinier, prettier, if you decide to put paint on them. Yeah, no, I got you. But again, you don't need to necessarily fall into that that area. Although it's perfectly valid as well. Another reason why Blood Bowl kind of fits so snugly in between a board game and a miniatures game, and it's one of the reasons why I love it so much. Just the format in which it operates. Because again, you get your 16 models, you're done. That's a team. Yeah, you can go a little bit bonkers insane if you want to have enough linemen to have lineman builds for each team, so that would expand the overall number, but you don't have to. Some would argue that even 12 or 11 is enough for a given team, depending on the team. But it is, again, still more expensive than just getting one model. Maybe a larger scale bust and effectively spend a couple of months painting it. Because if you really want to push yourself, you can put in hundreds of hours in each of these models. Technically, you can also do it on a smaller scale, but it's just like it's less rewarding for you when you finish it up. At least that's how I feel personally. That's why I personally wouldn't spend that amount of time on a single model, on a single gaming model. But a bust or a like 54 or 75 millimeter scale model? Yeah, absolutely. I would paint that for months. Either way, though, people need to find what they like and stick to it and don't care about overall meta. I've been getting a little bit annoyed at the protrusion of some model elitism going around. That's been, I think, dissuading people from getting into the hobby and a bit counterproductive to what it's trying to be. With people saying things like, if you dry brush, you're not a painter, or something along those lines. Or if you're using washes, and it has gotten me to the point where I sort of feel ashamed with it that I actually shaded some of the colors with washes. And that's not a feeling that you need to have while painting your battle Barbies. I don't want to be put into the situation where I have to feel bad about choosing a technique, and that I'm choosing it for the idea of output. And there has been quite a bit of that going around lately. And it is sadly once again stemming from misconceptions related to professional painters. And again, trying to copy, emulate people with a vastly different approach to the hobby. Like for them, again, it's not a hobby, it's a job. So they need to maximize both quality and quantity. Oh, yeah, but are you entering such a model in a contest? Or are you merely spending your nights, your evenings after work trying to distract yourself from the happenings of the world and pretty much. Yeah, true, true. Everything needs to have a value. Everything, all types of quality needs to have a quantitative measure, which is so counterproductive. It's insane. There are things that are good that don't necessarily have dollar signs in front of them, but hard to explain. And then again, first thing that you do after starting to become a little bit more comfortable with painting minis, you start doing commissions. What does that lead to? Horrible burnout. And what do you have to show for it? A very inefficient cash flow. Very suboptimal in terms of time invested to what you get back from it. Now, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done or that it's a bad attitude to have, but not straight away. Yeah. I'm trying to steer clear from it as well. I feel it's going to cause a lot more anxiety and just displeasure than it would give me any fulfillment. Yeah, not just good, efficient. I think the key word is efficient. You need to get decent looking stuff, but you need to be able to pump it out like nothing. And that requires exactly, exactly. You need to be automated in what you're doing. Doesn't need to be a particularly high level, but you need to be able to just pump it out like what am I thinking about? I would, however, I would paint other people's models like as a favor or just if the models are cool and the person would like to do that. And if I don't have anything going on at the moment, like I would do that, no problem. I would enjoy it. But I wouldn't necessarily go into it for money. Although, never say never and you never know what's gonna happen, but now, no. I don't feel comfortable enough. Yeah, absolutely. When it's done, it's done. So here again, what I'm doing is kind of redundant, as in I'm trying to smooth out some of the colors here. And it really isn't necessary because of the rough texturing that I'll do at the end. None of this smoothness will carry over. Because the end effect will be of a rough texture, so this is literally just me wasting time. But I kind of just got into the moment of it. And just enjoying the slow build up in the direction that you want to go. Next thing you know, you've been painting yellow for 2 hours on 4 models, and this is the first layer of highlights, so yeah. It's a bit on the slow side. In fact, I think I'm gonna do the touch-ups now. Before moving into the brighter layer. So that I don't forget. This is where the Pro Acryl stuff will come in handy. This is just so much easier to blend glaze stuff with. And it's roughly the same color. No worries, thank you for dropping by, for sticking around, and enjoy the rest of your day. I finally managed to learn how not to pour too much color from these bottles, which was a bit of a worry of mine. But I finally got the hang of it. Alright. And a totally unnecessary activity, but feel like doing it. And remember, kids, glazing down is easier than glazing up. Yeah, I guess this will be just shaded. Oh well. Anything else to blend in? So this is the dude where I actually need to put more effort into. This is front and back facing plates that need smooth gradients. Let's see if we can do anything about this. This is me tryharding too much. Again, this is not the point in time where you need to do this. And just getting everything wrong today. Oh.
I'm recording this because this could be the last thing I'll ever say. The city I once knew as home is teetering on the edge of radioactive oblivion. A 300,000-degree baptism by nuclear fire. I'm not sorry. We had it coming. A surge of white-hot atonement will be our wake-up call. Hope for our future is now a stillborn dream. The bombs begin to fall and I'm rushing to meet my love. Please remember me. There is no more.
What about here? Really alright. Goodies overall. Good. And now let's blitz through the highway. I was thinking about doing a few more Blood Bowl streams this week, like the game that is, but it's forming up to be a bit of a harder week at work. I'll probably be a little bit on the tired side, so probably just gonna be the 2 painting streams for this week. I would have liked to get a few more games with the humans to give at least one level to the 3rd catcher. But if I don't get the time, I don't get the time. There is still quite a bit of time. I think the season ends December 9th or something. Might get games in, but probably not during the week. And I will get to print the cards, the flyers on Friday. that on Saturday I can walk around. I can go around the stores and distribute them. That'll be fun. Actually quite excited to do it. I hope that the people in the stores actually understand my intentions, because last time I got a lot of questions along the lines of, did I design the game? Which was ridiculous, especially considering that they were carrying GW items. Question was a bit disappointing. Here's hoping that this time around a bit more understanding. Now, the shoulder plates I will shade right now. So,
Scary out there, much more than you can bear. But I'll protect you, my dear. You're my
who dat?
little white
Who dat
lie.
calling my phone?
You're my little scare.
Hmm. 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 Okay, so just one more dude. I'm gonna skip the inside of the cape entirely. My favorite. And we're done with the yellow. Doodle-doo. Now again, what would be next for the yellow would be texturing, which I will do for all surfaces at the same time. So for now, we can move on forward. However, already 10 past 9, and I did start a little bit earlier. So instead of going forward with the green, I will instead finish up with the previous batch and sort of touch up the metallics, the golds that I mentioned earlier. That will probably end for today. Let's give Balthazar's gold a go. And blend the harshest conditions. Balthazar gold will behave. Does have, well, all Citadel metallics have a pretty bad track record in my state. make a little bit of darkness. Dude. Across the midsection of the helmet. Once I get my hands on some mahogany. Oh, it's such an issue. Just darken down. Okay. Get a bit of a usable thing out of it. This got alright. A little bit poor on the contrary. What I can do, at least. Of course, the results, the ultimate results, are going to be once I put the matte varnish on. Then it's just not the varnish. Alright, I have a working recipe on how to restore frosted varnish. It should be fine. This time around, maybe. Possibly. Yeah, it's gonna be alright. Okay, let's assume that's enough. don't think you're able to anything I'm doing now. Just because of the amount of shine on the model. But effectively, what's happening is I'm trying to blend in some of the sketches I made with the rich gold, because they were a little bit on the rough side. And they would stand out a bit too much. Post varnish, regardless of the type of varnish, unless it's pure gloss. Eric, I won't. Sounding, but it's gonna have to. And with that, I will bid you adieu for now, and I will most likely be back on Wednesday with more painting on the little dudesters. Until then, however, actually, we do have some people around. Let's see if there's anyone to raid. Got a couple people. Who's there? Coco. Well, nobody's on. Okay, well, yes. Guess we'll save it for next. Either way, thank you everyone who joined, stuck around, dropped in, said hello, or lurked in the background. It is, as always, very much appreciated. Keep doing what you love and loving what you do. I've been Bachikolio, and I will see you around. Bye bye, guys.